All right, guys. So just a little forewarning. This is probably going to be a little bit of a shorter episode this week, um, just because I've got kind of an offset work schedule. I have to be up at 3:30 in the morning every day this week, so I can be to work for 5, and then I get out of work at 3:30, which means I won't get home until 4:30 in the afternoon. So it's going to be, like I said, a little bit of a shorter episode this week, but welcome back to Pat on the Back. I'm your host, Pat O'Connor. It's the somewhat sports show where we just kind of hang out and watch a game or two, or in this case, a little MLB big inning, and we just kind of talk about whatever we have to talk about. So the first thing that I'm trying to kick off with, because this is really, it was a little unexpected, but I cracked open a thing of Honey Nut Cheerios, and it was just like one of those little bags that like you get at like the dollar store where it's like 2 servings for like a buck 25. So it was just one of those, and I opened it up just to eat like, here and there as a snack. And when I looked into it, it honest to God just reminded me of like when a little kid is eating Cheerios and they get like milk and just saliva everywhere, and it's like just it's everything's wet for some reason. There's like 14 soggy Cheerios that have been in the mouth and then removed from the mouth, and then the little baby hands are wet from them putting their fingers in their mouth to deliver the Cheerios. And it's a terribly flawed system that, honest to God, really grosses me out a little bit, and it's grossed me out to think about, in all honesty. So I opened that up and I was like, oh, okay, like Honey Nut Cheerios are just gross to me now. Just thinking about the Honey Nut Cheerios, and I was like, oh my God, like it's grossing me out. And so I pulled this pro move. I had also bought a bag of the same size bag where you get like 2 servings at the dollar store of the Captain Crunch Oops All Berries, the All Berries Captain Crunch. And so what I did was I sprinkled some of that onto the Honey Nut Cheerios before putting my milk in. If you guys are not adding the all berries to your healthy cereal, dude, you are missing out. You don't even need a lot. You just need like a handful, maybe a half a cup's worth max. If that's even I don't know. I just sprinkled them on the top. You sprinkle on the Captain Crunch Oops All Berries onto any cereal you're eating. It is an immediate upgrade. I wish I had discovered this years ago when I had my own apartment. I was living alone and I bought whatever food I want. I mean, I buy whatever food I want now, but when I was in my early 20s and it was a little easier for me to lose weight, I wish I had known about the Oops All Berries trick, where you just add that into whatever cereal that you're eating. It is so good. I cannot, words won't do justice to how good it is. First off, Oops All Berries is a grade A, tier 1, ultimate. You want an unhealthy but fantastic cereal? That's probably one of the best picks you can come up with, is the Oops All Berries. Captain Crunch Oops All Berries is fantastic. Also, didn't know this, just found this out recently, like within the past week or two. I don't know if you guys knew this, but the Captain Crunch cereal, I heard those are supposed to be shaped like wooden barrels. Like what they would keep like fucking, I don't know, on a pirate ship, whatever the fuck they would keep in their wooden barrels. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. That's what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be fucking barrels. Didn't know that, but every flavor of Captain Crunch is great. But you want to really upgrade a cereal, You take that Oops All Berries, you add it to anything. Honey Nut Cheerios, regular Cheerios, cornflake, it doesn't matter. Wheaties, add it to whatever, and I promise you it's going to be good. I mean, I'm going to start trying different ones to be like, where does it fit? Where does it not fit? Because you get some where you're like, that may not be right. Like Cinnamon Toast Crunch with the Oops All Berries, that could miss. I can own that that might be a miss. But I don't know till I try. And I've tried it on the Honey Nut Cheerios, and it was an immediate upgrade. Cannot talk about it enough. Tell your friends, tell your wife, tell your husband, tell your grandma. Add the Oops All Berries to any cereal you got rocking, and it's going to be the best cereal you ever. You're going to be like, I can't believe that some retarded guy in New England is the one who told me about this, but I'm telling you, you gotta go Oops All Berries on top of any. I might start adding it to whatever. I might do. My sister's a bit of a baker. Fancies herself a bit of a baker. I might see if I can get her to make the Oops All Berries cupcakes or something. Her birthday's coming up. I don't care. I'm going to make her own cake with the Oops All Berries. Make a frosting. Do whatever. Your birthday doesn't matter. Make the cake that I want. Captain Crunch, Oops All Berries, add it to anything. It's an upgrade. I'm going to add it to ice cream, whatever I can think of. There's no way it's not an improvement on whatever you're eating. Swear to God, there's no way it can be a miss. But I'll be honest with you, the diet within my household right now, I think it might need some touching up. I think it might need a little bit of work. I pretty consistently, when I'm going to work, my breakfast is 4 eggs and a sweet potato, and my lunch is a turkey sandwich with a side Caesar salad. Every day I go to work, that's what I eat. I've been doing that for about 5 months now. When I get home out of work, that's when I get a little rocky. That's when I'll be like, I'm gonna have some cereal for dinner. And that's how I discovered the Oops All Berries edition. But my brother works second shift. And today's Tuesday night. On Monday night, last night, I had the day off for Memorial Day. Praise be to He. And he was in the kitchen cooking at 9:30 at night because he didn't get out of bed till 3 p.m. And on one hand, I get it, but that's not enough sunlight. Okay? So he's making at 9:30 p.m., he is putting pork loin in the oven, which I guess is fine. It kind of makes sense for his schedule. It's still a little weird, but I've talked to him about it before. This is the second or third week in a row that he's done the pork loins, regardless of the time. He's hitting pork loin just straight up. He's like, I'm making pork loin for the week. This is some of my food for the week. I'm like, okay, what do you like make the sides different every day or something? Or you just like steam a bag of veggies when you need it? And he goes, it's just the loin. And I'm like, just the loin. You're eating just straight up. You're pouncing on pork loin flat out, no additions, no subtraction. You're seasoning pork loins, popping them in the oven, and when they come out, you're slicing them up and you go, that's enough. I don't need to add anything to this. That's a crazy move. The even crazier move is I have seen my dad do the same exact thing within the past 2 months, maybe, max, where he's cooking up pork loins and I'm about to come downstairs to do this, to record with a podcast. And my dad pulls the pork loins out and he goes, hey, I got dinner ready here. And I'm like, okay, take a look at him. Like, well, you got just the pork loins set up, or you need help with any sides or anything? And he's like, oh, I didn't think about any sides. I was like, okay, well, I've got some steamed veggies that we're just going to throw in the microwave. They'll be ready in 5 minutes. But what is it with my dad and my brother where they're like, the meal is meat and we don't need any additions to meat? I hate to, like, it seems healthy on the surface, but that is not a well-rounded meal, especially for two people who have very different goals. My dad should be trying to lose weight, my brother should be trying to gain weight. My dad weighs, I don't know, 250. I have no idea what he weighs. But I know my brother weighs about a buck 50 maybe. They've got two different goals. They have the same exact diet and the same exact workout regimen. No one's hitting the gym. No one is is going for runs or for walks. They're just loading up on protein first diet, which is fine, except they're just hammering pork loin, which is the fun of all the meat based diets. If you're gonna do a carnivore diet, most people don't go pork loin. Most people would be like, "We're hitting ground beef, we're hitting steak, we're hitting chicken," and they're like, "We're just straight up doing pork loin until Saturday and Sunday roll around, and then we're gonna start hammering hot dogs and hamburgers all through the summer, carnivore diet, pork loin during the week, and hamburgers and hot dogs on the weekend." And both of them are doing this same exact diet with totally different goals. And it is one of the most creative approaches to weight management that I have seen, where they're just like, we're not going to do any of the hard work. I'm not going to crack open a single cookbook. I'm not going to look on a single recipe app. And fuck you, I'm not even going to hop on Chat GPT and see what they dial up. I'm straight up going pork loin, pork loin, pork loin, pork loin, pork loin, hot dog, hamburger. And that is my recipe for success. I'm gonna achieve my goals through nothing but pure grade A pig pork loin. It's, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I think that's preposterous. I think that's a crazy approach to a diet. I like pork. I don't like pork 6 days a week for multiple weeks in a row, which is exactly what they're doing. And here's the other thing. I don't think they've like discussed this. I think they both probably read the same Men's Health article on Facebook that said, "Hey, you should hammer pork loin because it's cheap and it's meat." And they were like, "What more do I need to get into shape than cheap meat? I can't afford beef jerky," which is expensive, to be fair. Beef jerky is expensive. You're talking $14 a pound or whatever it is. That's a lot of money. So the loin is cheaper. But just straight up hitting pork loin on repeat, smashing the pork button on repeat is a crazy move. And maybe that's just me, but that's not how I approach I mix it up all the time. I've, well, the part of it is they refuse to eat fish. I had my first seafood boil a couple weeks ago, and the only ones in my family who will eat seafood are me and my mom. So when I had one, because growing up, we like, or at least when I was growing up, we never had seafood because my brother has a shellfish allergy, and my dad and sister don't like seafood. So me and my mom were always outweighed, so we never had seafood. But now I'm an adult and I can eat whatever the fuck I want. So I will have seafood in the house. I'll have tilapia. I'll have salmon, swordfish, ahi tuna. I'll have it in the house because I fucking like it. So I had my first seafood boil the other day, and I had it with my Portuguese friend, and she was like, "Oh, this is how you do this." She ordered it and everything, and I was like, "This is fantastic." A seafood boil, if you have not had one and you are a fan of seafood, you got to do it. It is insanely good. And anyway, so I'm telling my mom about it. I was like, "Have you had one of these before?" Um, I don't believe I have. This was new for me. I really enjoyed it. I think maybe we should look into trying one ourselves, see if we can get the things that we need, and we'll do a seafood boil, put like a big placemat down on a table, and we'll just go to town. We'll invite one or two. I mean, I was like, we'll invite my friend over, and the three of us will do a seafood boil. And my brother was like, "Hey, I need you to stop talking about that." And I was like, what do you mean? What's the matter?" And he goes, "You're talking about the seafood, which is putting the smell of seafood into my mouth or into my nose, and it's kind of making me want to throw up a little bit." And I was like, "Oh, okay. So now not only can me and mom not have seafood, we are no longer allowed to discuss seafood around the rest of our family." Apparently, as an O'Connor, liking seafood is a very isolating segment of your life. If you like seafood and your last name is O'Connor and you are a part of my family tree, you're fucked. You do not get to eat, think, talk, even contemplate the potential of maybe one day possibly having seafood. Seafood is completely off limits in my family, which I did not know. I didn't know that me and my mom would be so isolated on Shrimp Island, on Crab Island, on Ahi Tuna Island. I didn't know. Which also, by the way, my whole family, they will eat tuna. They'll eat canned tuna. But they will not, they'll eat fish and chips, but they will not eat, like if I make salmon in a pan, I'm like, "Hey, try a bite of that. Honey glazed salmon." They'll be like, "I'm not going to eat that. I don't like fish." And I'm like, "You're not even going to try a bite of it." And they're like, "Don't like it." They like fish and chips, tuna, and swordfish. But they will swear to you that they do not like seafood at all. And if you talk about seafood, it will make them sick, apparently, which was a new development to me. But fine. It is what it is. No harm, no foul. But very isolating. Another thing that I have discovered is isolating. So this past weekend, Memorial Day weekend, so Sunday, I almost said November. Sunday, May 24th, I signed up for an event, a golfing event through Random Golf Club for the Mad Scramble, which is a 100-person, 9-hole scramble where each person, where we all play the same shot. You play the best ball. So it's 100 people hitting off of the same spot. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm explaining it well. It's 100 people playing best ball through 9 holes, which is a weird thing. I had never done that before. I was like, that seems interesting. I haven't played a round of golf yet this year. I don't really have any buddies that play golf. I don't. I no longer have coworkers that I know of that are very into golf. So when I go and play golf, it's typically by myself. So I was like, you know what? I'll go. I'll do this event. Maybe make a couple buddies. Do a different type of golfing experience that had never heard of before. I'd never even heard of the company before, Random Golf Club. Never heard of it before. And unfortunately, I signed up for that event, and then the weather kept us from getting onto the golf course. So it rained insanely heavy all weekend, and they locked up the golf course. I was like, okay, I would have done it in the rain. I was like, fuck it. I had already decided. So I went out, was just kind of hanging out, picked up NHL 25, realized I don't know shit about hockey, but I will talk about that later. So I'm checking my email, and the email says, "Hey, we're going to go to this golf simulator." Now, I had never played on a golf simulator before either. I'd only ever played, I hit at the range and I play on the course. I've never hit a simulator. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll go to the golf simulator. I already paid the money for the ticket. I'm not going to lose out on this. I'm going to the simulator. I'm getting my free drinkies. I'm getting my free merch. And I'm going to fucking swing a couple clubs. So I went to a golf simulator. Weird experience. A little bit playing on a simulator. It's very fun, but it does take some getting used to. You have to adjust everything. Everything is fine tuned. A lot of it's automatic, so you call for the ball by pressing a button on the floor. If you've never been to one, shoots the ball up out of the floor and it rolls gently onto a tee, like a little hole where the tee is, and then that tee raises up out of the ground to the setting height that you put it at. Insane. Now, you can play at whatever course that they have loaded into that program. I don't remember where we played. I think it was somewhere in San Antonio. I honest to God don't remember. So it adjusts the height for everything for it's a little intuitive. And going in, I obviously I went with no one, so I didn't know anybody there. Walked up, a couple guys introduced themselves. Said, "Hey, I'm a couple cool guys, Brandon and Zach. Cool dudes. Had a great time playing with them. Um, we played 9 with them, and then also one of the guys associated with the company came and he played on the lane with us. Caton Richmond. I may be getting his name wrong. I'll try and get that corrected in the description or something. And he's a club pro down in San Antonio at a golf course down there. So I played with those 3 guys, and I told them before we started, I was like, hey, on 18 birdies, which is a golf tracking app, it says my handicap is a 28.5. Now that's not accurate because I have a nasty habit of plugging in about 2 holes into the app when I play a round of golf, and then I stop putting in holes. So if I have 2 bad holes, it averages that out across the rest of the round and shoots my average up through the fucking roof. Because it'll go like, well, he's 2 over on hole 1 because I don't go to a driving range and I don't take a breakfast ball. So he goes, he's 2 over through 1. He must be 2 over through every hole. So it just shoots my fucking handicap through the roof. So it said I had a 28.5 handicap. Now, I told him that's not true to real life. And then we played 9 holes on a tough course, and getting used to the way the simulator works was a bit of a challenge. So there was highs and lows and pros and cons to everything. But through 11 holes, I was 31 shots over par through 11 holes, which made me feel like, okay, maybe 28.5 is my handicap. Maybe that's more accurate than I would like to admit. Now, it was a tough course. I had to adjust to how a simulator works. I'd never played on one before, and I hadn't played a round of golf in over a year. And last year when I did play, I had played maybe 2 rounds of golf, 18 holes total. Not a lot. And before that, I don't think I played that season at all. I took that season off for time and money. So I haven't consistently played golf in about 3 years. And I was like, guys, my handicap says 20.5. It's not actually 20.5. And then we played, and I was like, my handicap might be 28.5. 28.5 might be doing me some fucking favors, in all honesty. I have never felt more. I mean, I had a good time. You have to treat it as a no pressure thing. I was hitting shots that made no sense. I was the only guy who was hitting virtual trees. I teed off on hole 1. I was the first guy up. Teed off. Not a bad shot. Had a good carry on it. Cracked this dead center of a tree and shot about 100 yards back into the fairway. So I had on a par 5, I drove the ball 150 yards and was still about 400 yards from the hole. and everyone else was gaining way more ground than I was, way faster. Then on the second hole, I tee off again, hit another virtual tree. I didn't know. You think the game would do you a couple favors, and they'd be like, whoa, what are the chances he hits 2 trees in a row? Apparently, on this particular golf course simulated, which I cannot remember which course you played, very likely, apparently. So that fucking really ate me up. So I got off to a terrible start. Putting on a simulator is fucking the weirdest shit. You have figuring out how hard to hit the ball is fucking damn near impossible. You just have to hit it into the hole. You can't like chip your way up to it. You can't dribble it in. It's either going in or it's not going, or it's going 10 yards past. You can't like just ease it up into the hole. It's a total pain in the ass to get it figured that I did not get down until like hole 9. So I think genuinely if it was real life I would have shot 31 over par through 11 holes? No. But when you tell people, "Hey man, it's been a while since I've played and it says my handicap is 28.5, but that shit ain't real." And then you shoot 31 over through 11, you kind of run out of room to say shit about it. You kind of start to seem like, okay, this guy fucking is a kind of a douchebag who just wanted to seem cooler than he actually is. And no, I genuinely, my handicap is not that bad. I'm just rusty as hell, and I don't know how to play in this format, and it fucked me up. And I played with guys who like, I played with a club pro, the best player I've ever played with in my life, and then 2 amateurs who play all the time. So I didn't stand a chance, really. But when you put our numbers in comparison, the 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 pro was like +4, I think, through 11. The other 2 guys were like +7. And I'm over here, I'm like, dude, I'm putting you guys I'm going for the high score on this fucking course. You have no idea what I'm capable of. You guys are about to be shock and awe on the pure numbers that I'm going to put up in this fucking thing. So it ends, thank God. It ends around 9 p.m. Overall, not a bad deal. It was supposed to be $75 to play the 9 holes, get a few free drinks, get some merch. Instead, we had to pivot to the simulator. And I looked up the price for the simulator. It's $70 for an hour. So for $75, I got 3 free drinks, a new golf hat that I honest to God desperately did need. And then played 3 hours on a simulator for $75 and made some good connects. Hopefully some dudes I'll be able to play some golf with in the future, and maybe a club, a pro who maybe we can work with in the future as well, because he was a great dude as well. But it was a hell of a good time. I cannot wait for them to come back to the Providence area next year. I'm gonna try and get into this event again, but it was very fun and became very humbling very quick. I've never felt more motivated to be like, I really need to hit the links hard this year, because that was an abysmal showing. And now that I understand how to use a simulator, I have no issue with saving up a little coin during the winter, and I'll hit the simulator during the winter, because now I get it. Now I know how it works. I'm not going to feel weird when I go. I'm just going to go have a good time. It feels like playing a more casual version of golf, where you're swinging clubs, and that's always fun. That feels good. Um, the weirdest part for me as a 28-year-old man is that I was walking out with the 2 regular dudes who I was playing with, and I was like, "Hey guys, like, do you play golf often?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, so like I don't have anyone to play golf with. So if you guys ever want to get your toys together and come play, that would be really fun. Like, I felt so foolish to talk to these guys and be like, "Do you guys want to play sometime?" at at 28 years old. And I'm pretty sure these guys they looked like they were both married. At my age, maybe a few years older, and they were probably sitting right around 30, I think. Great dudes. They were a lot of fun, really cool to hang out with. But I was like, holy shit, I can't. I was like, so embarrassing to be like, you guys were cool. Do you guys want to play sometime? At like asking, like, do you guys want to be friends at 28? I was like, this is the most kindergarten shit I've ever done in my fucking life, dude. To be like, oh, it's just whenever, if you guys want to play, I love to play too. We could just play together if you guys want to play. You could bring your action figures over to my house, and then, and then we'll build a fort, and then my action figures will fight against your action figures, and then the next time they'll team up, and then we'll fight the bad guys together. That's how it felt when I was like, can I get one of y'all's Instagrams or phone number or whatever, and we'll fucking play some golf. I also had to tell them, because it just came up that I did stand-up comedy because we're bullshitting with each other. And they're like, oh, do you get booked a lot? I was like, not as much as I would like to. And they were like, why? I was like, they were like, what kind of material do you do? And I was like, well, currently I kind of have, I'm, I have a nasty, not a nasty rap. It's hard to explain. I was like, one time I got brought up as the host's favorite racist, and I'm not racist. But it makes it tough to sometimes, and like people would say that my material is too. They want me to be clean, is really what it is, and I don't do clean comedy because I do jokes that I think are funny, and sometimes those jokes are clean and sometimes they are not. But it's always what I think is funny. I'm not willing to compromise that, because if I'm not having fun, then they're not having fun. But apparently at my local comedy club, Comedy Connection in Providence, fantastic club, performed there a couple times, had a great experience every time. I have been told by the individual who books, like, or assists with booking on the weekends, booking hosts or openers or what have you, um, the guy who books those spots has told me your material is just okay, and I can't really book you on the weekend because your material is too risky. And what I have come to understand is what that means is that people think that no one wants to book someone who's going to outdo or overshine the headliner. The headliner has to be the star, which makes sense, and that's justified, and I totally agree with that. But we have one goddamn comedy club in this fucking comedy scene that I'm involved in, and that's the Comedy Connection in Providence. And we are denying local comedians the opportunity to perform at those shows if they don't suck a little dick, and that's fucking bullshit. And I'm not doing it. I'm doing the jokes I think are funny. I sent that guy the tape that he turned down for hosting gigs is a tape from a show that I buried the headliner on, because I went up and then the headliner went up, and I buried the fucking headliner who came in from LA to open for a big name comic in Providence. Do I want to do more work? Yes. That's not what I'm getting at, guys. It's supposed to be a fun show, but that shit bothers me still. And that was a while ago. Anyway, to have to tell guys that you're golfing with, like, yeah, some people called me racist one time, and now and with the way that I look, I get hit as that's the racist comic. And that's fucking tough to shake off sometimes, which I don't care. Label me whatever. I know I make people laugh, and that's all that I care about. But when you're like, and then when you're like an hour and a half later, you're like, so do you guys want to be friends? Do you guys want to get together and play sometime? It makes you feel like a fucking idiot, dude. It makes you feel like the world's largest child when you're like, do you guys want to hang out sometime? Like, but there's no natural way to do it. I think it's just for a guy, making friends as an adult is a weird thing to do. It's not, it's because like you make friends with the people you work with, and that builds naturally, but you're also hanging out all the time. Maybe you work 40 hours a week together. You're doing shit all the time as as a group of people. You conversate, you talk about things going on in your life, you naturally become friends. But when you just meet people out and then you go like, do you guys want to be friends? Because if we don't exchange information, we'll probably never see each other again. Then you become kind of weird, in my opinion. Like, but it's a totally normal, natural thing to do, but it does seem strange when you're doing it. I felt like a fucking, especially after playing so shitty and they played so good, that I was like, hey, like, do you guys want to hang out after this? I was like, yo, I'm the loser kid in class asking to hang out with the cool guys right now. And they're like, yeah, man, yeah, no, we got guys that are just as good as you. Like, it's the same skill level. And I'm like, no, you don't, but I appreciate you guys saying that. All right, guys, but we got to wrap for today. We're going to end on that. I told you it's going to be a short one. We're ending on it with a little bit of momentum. I'd keep going, but let's save some shit in the tank. You know what I mean? I got to be up in just a few hours. I still have to edit this. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. Go check out Random Golf Club. They have a YouTube channel. They do a lot of cool stuff on there. I'm not associated with them in any way. I went to this one event that was a ton of fun. And I think they deserve some support. So if you're into golf, YouTube Golf and shit, go check them out. Also, please go listen to Rudy Tuesday. That is the comedy podcast that I do with Rudy Marinosi and Breck Michael. We do that. That comes out every Tuesday at 7 a.m. That's called Rudy Tuesday. And go follow that on Instagram at Rudy Tuesday Podcast on Instagram. You can follow me at Pat O'Connor Comedy on Instagram as well. And go ahead and, if you're enjoying the show, go like, subscribe, follow, share, put it on your grandma's phone and just press the play button. Download Spotify onto your dementia-riddled grandmother, her cell phone, and when you go over her house, just press play on Pat on the Back and let it run through every episode and get the viewership count up. If you're so inclined, if you like the show, then do that. If you don't like the show, do it anyway. It's not fucking hurting you at all. You're just messing with your grandma now, and that's always a good time. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. Love you guys, and we'll see you next week. Next week, we've got Idiot History coming out next week. That's going to be on King Richard the Lionheart. That one's going to be a lot of fun. It's a little bit different. We do Idiot History every couple weeks. That'll be our second edition of Idiot History. So please go check that out. That's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much.